Welcome to Gaia's Love, a podcast of brief messages to help humanity bridge the gap to the new earth. My name is Vivienne Gerard. It is my delight to be a scribe for consciousness today, sharing the wisdom that flows through from Source. Here we go. Episode 322. It is Tuesday. Here in Cincinnati, we had a light dusting of snow this morning, and everything just looks so beautiful. There's just a tiny little layer of white. So I haven't been outside yet to know how cold it is, but it looks beautiful. All right, we are at Tuesday, the week before school lets out, right before or as exams are running for many school families right now. It's a pretty intense week, and when I was reflecting on what I wanted to share in this space, I just kept coming back to, the point of Gaia's love in the way that I show up is just to be present with what I'm feeling and intuitively feeling. Yeah, what I'm feeling, just to share what I'm feeling and what's happening in and around me and translate energy and vibration into practical examples and words and stories. So when I'm reminded of that original purpose, what I was feeling was this sense of push-pull, back, forth, end of year, beginning of next year, deadlines, no deadlines. There's just this really funny in-between mix and match of energies that I feel moving today. So I thought I would just sort of name them and kind of work through them, and perhaps you have a match to it, perhaps you don't, and you'll just find it amusing as hell to listen to me do it. I don't know. So the title is System Upgrade, and the best example I could find or think of in my meditation was the software process where you can do it on your phone. Perhaps that's the best example. When you think about your phone, so I have an iPhone and Apple sends out this update and they say you need to do the update, you need to do the update. You keep getting the reminder, you got to update. And I ignore them as long as possible because what I've learned is there's always some bugs that are being worked out and something shifts and you have to learn a new way, and so it's not often worth it for me to go through that. But there are some softwares or apps you can't download to your phone until you do that upgrade. And so they want you to keep evolving with what they're learning to do in phones. And these updates are a way to keep everyone on the same platform, the same language. And perhaps that's the best example of what I feel right now. When I know I have to do some sort of upgrade on my phone or my computer, the first advice I always hear my dad saying in my mind is, back everything up, back it all up, make sure you have a backup. We actually just talked yesterday, my dad and I, about maybe switching my computer to a different level of processor because it's not running quite as quickly as I would like. And that was the first thing he was asking me, have you backed everything up? Do you have copies of everything? I get that same sense of it's important at the end of this year to pause and to look back on all the stuff that has happened and make sure we've backed it up, make sure we've looked at it, explored it, processed it, thought through it, released it, the relationships, the health, the work, the money, the environment. I mean, there's so much stuff that happens in a year, and are we taking a moment or many moments to look back and really feel into what has been happening and where we are now compared to where we were a year or 2 or 10 years ago? And I feel so much of that in my own journey, looking back and reflecting, deeply reflecting on how I got to here and how it feels to be here. And are there corrections or smoothing out energetically shifts that I want to make as I look back at this past year. What's coming up as I have that intention are lots of little tendrils and pieces and conversations, and boundaries has been a really big thing for me this year, and I've noticed just in the last week lots of little examples where my boundaries are being questioned or reflected to me, and am I clear on how I hold those boundaries and how I navigate within my own comfort zones. And so a lot of this backing up, if you think of a system upgrade, the backing up needs to be done before you can step into the next level of the software, or before the next language can be understood. You have to have the current language in alignment. And I feel that in my physical body and in my manifested world and reality around me. There's a line I'm walking between how much time and attention do I want to give to backing up, and how much time and attention am I really wanting to start directing towards the new software, the new focus, the new evolution of next year, of 2020, the new decade. And so I kind of go back and forth. It's like I haven't actually done the upgrade yet for myself, and so I'm backing up and I'm looking forward, and I'm just sort of back and forth, and it can be a little confusing. If you have a match to this, it can feel a little confusing. My traditional way of moving through the world is create, move, go forward, like charging into the future. And I'm really good at it. I'm really comfortable with it. And I can sense how good next year is going to be, like how magnificent it's going to be. And so my whole body's like, go, let's go. And yet there are some backups that need to be completed within myself and within my world, my community, my home, my cocoon, my world. Not like the whole of Earth and humanity. Like right here in my little happy world, there are still some things to back up. So I have lots of to-do lists with reminders about all the things that need to be completed to make sure I don't miss anything. I also have this sense of the system upgrade about time. I've talked a lot about time and our experience of it here in the podcast, and also in my last newsletter, which I still haven't published. I still need to get that up on social media and on my website. I sent the email, but then I haven't followed through on all that because I'm charging into the future. So I'm pausing to complete that beautiful package also, which talks about time and how time is shifting. And as I sit in this space of knowing I'm about to wrap up work and really pause my pace and be so in the beauty of being with my family and my friends over the next few weeks, there's a sense of I've got to get everything done before I do that pause. And so my to-do lists are scheduled by like this and then this and then this, and I'm trying to get it all done. And I'm working on releasing that need inside of myself to have it all wrapped up beautifully and big bow and done. There will be much that carries over on my to-do list into 2020, and that's okay. It's okay, and there will be some things that just don't get done, and that's okay too. And so I find myself being as efficient as possible while trying to be as present as possible, and somewhere in the midst of efficiency and presence, I laugh at myself because it's just funny. It's funny to observe my own behavior. Yeah, a couple of things I'll just add to this before I wrap up. So I have decided I'm going to wrap the podcast up tomorrow and step into the activities I've scheduled with friends and family a little earlier on Thursday instead of pushing and rushing to get, one more day in for the podcast. So tomorrow will be my last podcast for 2019, which is bringing a lot of emotion also. This has been such a beautiful journey, and so to arrive at the end of this year, I'm like, whoa. So I will be bringing that completion into tomorrow's podcast. And then to name for the future, when I was sitting in my meditation right before recording this, I have this beautiful guide who always sits on my left, who I know has helped me work through the creations of the books that I've already written, and has been this steadfast editor in my mind, in my consciousness. There's just been this steady voice that has been helping me to allow the wisdom to flow through into my one-day series of books. And it was the most beautiful journey. It's been the most beautiful journey to feel the power of what was transmitted in that series. And I can sense, January is, in my mind, I've already committed a lot of time in January to working into the next book that's coming through. And it's not part of the one-day series. That one's complete. This one is called Just White Light. And I'm starting to get these little nuggets and glimpses of what it's going to be about. And it's so beautiful. And I am so excited to allow that flow of energy to start to come through and to be put into recordings like these, and then be transcribed into an actual book that can then be shared with all of you, with humanity. And I know what the pure potential and power of that book holds. And so I get that sense in my physical body also of, oh my God, am I ready? Am I ready? I know what Gaia's gifts, one day Gaia's gifts, what that did to my body, how intense that process was. And, I'm feeling the power of what Just White Light is going to be. And how do I prepare my body to be able to hold that vibration and be clear in how I transmit it and translate it? And so I can sense how much sleep I'm going to need over the next few weeks, and how much I'm going to need to nourish my body and be held and cocooned and loved on. And I can sense what's arriving, what's about to be flowing through is going to be one of the most beautiful phases in my journey yet. And there's some healing and alignment that I am going to be doing to prepare for that. So it's that same system upgrade, right? I'm backing up. I'm doing all the things that need to be completed so that I'm prepared for the next level of consciousness. And I can tell what the beauty and benefits and amazingness of that upgrade is going to look and feel like. And oh my God, am I ready? How do I fully prepare for what that's going to mean to me and to my world? So that's where I'm at today. Excited, a little tender, a little overwhelmed, and also really present with right here where I am. And I know it's exactly where I chose to be at this moment, and everything is in absolute alignment. I ask often in my meditation time to my guides, to my consciousness, my soul, is there anything for me to adjust? Is there anything I need to shift? Where am I in harmony with the highest potential of my soul at this time? And I always get, you're exactly on track. It's exactly as you designed it. Focus on right now, and the next step will appear. So I trust that knowing, and I share it with you and invite you to have that own conversation with your own soul, your own guides. And if your answer is yes, which I'm guessing it will be if you're listening to this. Then trust that and relax, and like me, allow some spaciousness as we move towards this system upgrade moving into 2020. Allow some spaciousness in your schedule so that you can fully be with what is completing, what is backing up, and what we are greeting, what we are moving towards. All right. I am headed out to the last Lunch and Love of 2019. It has been so much fun to connect with so many of you and have lunch together. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I'll be back tomorrow and we'll wrap up 2019 together. So much love to each of you today. Thank you for tuning in to this vibration of pure love. I invite you to join me on Sunday mornings for an hour of meditation, visualization, and energy healing, where we realign our mind, body, spirit with Gaia and Source. You can learn more at mysouljourney.com. Let's take this message of Gaia's love out into all of our relationships and communities today. So much love from my heart to yours.